this thing on? Just kidding, guys. What's going on? Listen, I'm not going to talk for too long. I'm excited to share this video. Dino Don Legend, the Don himself, been working with dinosaurs for over 40 years. Dinosaurs, like, he's a big kid at heart. So yeah, this channel is going to just be exposing so much of that, so much excitement and things going on. So I'm just going to jump straight into it. Yeah, this guy worked on Jurassic Park as well. It's incredible. So check this video out. So
yeah, it worked.
there you go. All right.
Yeah,
let's see how we go.
I have the option to leave the meeting right now, but I'll stay.
Yeah. It'd be a bit awkward if I'm sitting here recording myself.
You could do it.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd get many views.
Well, you never know.
Yeah.
For the sake of your recording, I'll start that little bit over if you don't mind.
Don. Yeah, appreciate that.
I've been working on dinosaurs for 40 years practically. I worked on the movie Jurassic Park and the Universal and theme park rides and Disney, and I dug up the biggest dinosaurs in the world in Argentina and Mongolia and China. Wrote 50 books, was the host of American documentary TV series. So I tried to do everything possible with dinosaurs, but I never worked on robots because I always thought they sucked. They were half size, they didn't look accurate, and they all had like Parkinsonism. You know?
Yeah.
So I happened to go to the best dinosaur quarry in the world, actually, which is in central China. And I'm at the quarry, and the guy says, "You got some extra time? Let's go to one of the dinosaur factories." I said, "That's okay." He said, "No, really, you should see it." So we went, and it turned out that they don't make these from a mold, which I assumed is how they all turn out looking terrible and the same. It's done by hand, and nobody ever gave them the right information. So I realized that if I sent a scientist and the drawings, we could make full-size dinosaurs up to as big as dinosaurs got, which is 35 meters and 15 meters high. And so we immediately got this niche that's unique to us. And so first went to zoos because they rent 30 and 40 at a time. And it's an immediate source of a lot of revenue, and it justified building all these dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So now we do almost all the zoos in North America. You can only really do it productively in a really big zoo environment, because otherwise we're a small company. We can't do a bunch of small exhibits.
Right.
A few really big ones. It's kind of counterintuitive. And now we've expanded into Europe, where they used to be very snooty about anything.
Oh, wow. In Europe, right. I didn't realize you're in Europe as well. Wow, yeah.
So we did Leipzig and Copenhagen Zoo, and they discovered what they ought to have known, which is dinosaurs are the most phenomenally attractive thing.
Yeah.
There's more dinosaurs, just to give you some stats, there's more dinosaur exhibits in museums than any other subject except for Egypt. And
wow.
And on our exhibits, the zoos increased their attendance by more than a third. So you already got 1 million people to the zoo. You end up with 300,000 more.
Yeah.
We did something at the Bronx Zoo in New York with like 50 dinosaurs. You pay too much money to go into the zoo. You had to pay another $7 American just to see the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And they had 450,000 people do that. So it's just...
Is that in just in a year? 1 year?
That's in 6 months.
Whoa.
I know. Wow. So we're gravitating towards doing gate shares. If we know it's a big environment, we'll make more money than just getting a fee.
Yeah.
And we went on a show. I'm sure it exists in Australia. Maybe it's called Dragon's Den in Australia.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like it's like the Shark Tank sort of. Yeah,
the Shark Tank. We got a billionaire investor to give us $500,000. So now we're going to start our own tour and exhibit next month.
Oh
No,
wow.
no zoos in California, 80 dinosaurs outdoors, and it has inflatable slides and
Oh wow, that's incredible. All dinosaur themed, like the slides are.
dinosaur. Yep, all
Yeah,
dinosaur and what these kind of mining experience where you get dinosaur fossils and dig pits, and so
yeah,
a big family attraction. A lot of people do this in a cheaper way with the crappy ones,
yeah,
crappy
yeah.
robots, and they still make an awful lot of money going for a weekend to a convention center, things like that.
Wow, 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 wow. So it's
But you
kicking off
don't know,
next.
I don't know Australia, so I need you to figure that out.
Yeah, honestly, like I mean, as I said, through the venue sales, I'm talking to all the biggest festival owners, right? So just on that, what I could look at doing is pickpocketing the right venues and the right to create the right tour. I'm not sure if you've heard of the Big Bounce. They're a huge inflatable company. They actually started in America, so they tour America.
Hmm.
But they came to Australia just before COVID. So they did a year in 2019 into 2020, and they're back again. So I mean, listen, in all honesty, you could just literally pickpocket where they go for their tour because it's a utilized event site and they have that sort of, the bump in, bump out process. But I think for me, the vision is like sometimes with the inflatables that because they're so big, they're so difficult, right? Just to move and the logistics around that. So I think my vision, as I was sort of mentioning earlier, is to set things up for a longer period of time to allow the branding and the marketing to really be activated and almost, sort of rinse and repeat on that method. And quite honestly, listen, if we were able to somehow coordinate this and set one up, I mean, even at the venue I mentioned now, Caribbean Park in Melbourne, and that was as successful as what maybe what I'm thinking and what you're suggesting, then we could just replicate that model in different major cities rather than having the tour and the headache of the logistics. And then what we might do is, as that progresses, you might, I'm sure there'll be new technologies. There'll be, different dinosaurs, for example, to bring in different activities, different inflatables. It depends on the imagination as to your limitations, right? But even coming into, let's say Halloween, for example, we can go and put some decorations around the park or, Christmas time and put some Christmas decorations, just really give it a different theme for different periods of the year. So where I'm at, obviously, with the business is I'm just recruiting for the first time, Don, in 7 years, a full-time operations manager. So my business is really picking up, and I'm going to look to coordinate a bit of a team, which is why I'm now able to free myself up to really work on networking, creating more opportunities, not just obviously for my business, but for the venues that I'm sort of collaborating with. So I'm not actually employed by the venues. I do consulting for the venue. So that's pretty much where I'm at. And I honestly believe, like, with a bit of time and if I get my head down in the paper and we come up with a great proposal to the venues, I reckon we could secure at least half a dozen venues if a tour was on the cards. But I think, as I keep saying, I think that expo style to kick it all off would be the way I would like to see it done. And I think that would probably allow us to build a bit more of a cash flow from the concept to then develop that concept. Um, there is a dinosaur experience already here, but it's pretty small scale and it's really contained. So they do have a mobile model. So they're able to move it and they utilize shipping containers and they put, they're not big, right? They're a couple of meters and it looks great. And I haven't actually been, but I'd like to create that more of that Jurassic Park feel. So Caribbean Gardens there's a huge lake in the middle, and there's an abundance of trees and greenery, and you can really get creative and hide the dinosaurs in little pockets where
Right.
people can just go for a wander around and they discover the dinosaurs. They're not in your face all the time. Like we're talking the space. The perimeter of this particular venue is over 5 kilometers.
Wow.
Like we drive when I'm showing clients around, we're driving around to show them. Like it's a huge venue, this one in particular. And it actually runs off one of the main intersections heading into the city centre. So it's called Stud Road. It sees an absolute abundance of cars every single day, like every single day. So there's great exposure with this venue as well, which is why it's been going gangbusters for us, and we're bringing in some of the biggest music festivals. But that's obviously the concept. Like it works. You're doing it yourself. You're launching your expo in a month's time, right? So it works. You know it works. I think what we need to figure out is how we can make it work in Australia. How we can bring it to Australia. How we can utilize you as an individual, because from the sounds of it, your experience and knowledge and just the things you've done just are incredible, Don. To be honest with you, so even
Well,
from
I'm
a
old.
I mean, even from a perspective of having, that sort of like a public speaking element, like just coming in, educating. Like I'm 31 years old, right? I'm fascinated. But I can only imagine there'd be so many more young adults that would just be so inquisitive into dinosaurs and having that Q&A experience. But I think the best thing with technology is you don't particularly have to be in Melbourne if for whatever reason we can't achieve that. We can
Right.
pop up a big screen and we can do a live Q&A over the Zoom, for example, or a
That'd be
different
fun.
software. But there's just loads of just ideas to sort of get things going and get it building. But quite interesting. Obviously, you mentioned they come from China. I obviously import my inflatables from China, so I'm aware of sort of the operations there. So it would be great to, yeah, I don't know, you just sort of have these conversations, further develop, and really see how we can bring Dinodons to Australia. Like I'm not interested in starting my own business by myself, my own brand. Like it's tough. I know how tough it is, and you would as well. But you've got the existing experience, knowledge, and brand
Right.
to really obviously support what I'm thinking. And if we can work out a collaboration in some way, and I just think, it'd be great for both of us, and it'd also be great for the local community and the kids that we get share this excitement.
Yeah,
Um,
we have there's a core audience, 3 years old to 8 years old,
yeah,
and they are obsessed. And then there's a secondary audience of guys between 20 and 40, including
yeah,
you, who are equally obsessed sometimes. So I think that accounts for the phenomenal attendance appeal.
yeah,
We're going to do something there. I'll give you a scenario that might work. Because of their size, you it takes you a while to assemble these things.
right,
So you need a crew of 4 to take 10 days with some equipment.
yeah,
Another reason why you'd want to run it for a while. So, for instance, what you might do is a month or 6 weeks in Melbourne, and then go to Brisbane, and then Adelaide, and then
yeah,
Cairns, and then Sydney, and then maybe go to Perth. But that would use up your year, and then you come around again with a slightly different show, as you say.
yeah.
The challenge in the beginning is you have to build new dinosaurs
Hmm.
and ship them from China, and the cumulative expense is probably $500,000 US
Wow,
to
right, okay,
do that, to do a 40 dinosaur show, which would be kind of the minimal size to be able to charge people a good sized ticket
right, right,
just for the attraction. So you got to crack that investment problem. So if
right.
you sign up, for instance, you get 2 venues interested, each one has to put up that, or 3 venues have to put up that amount of money, and they get their money back first.
Yeah,
That's how I used to start things off to finance in the beginning.
right, right. So you would just go and obviously network with the venues, sell them the dream, and get them to buy in. And based on, let's for example say they buy in $250,000, but over a year or over 6 months or over 3 months, whatever the projections are, they're going to earn X amount,
Right.
and
But
that's
even
how.
they're going to earn that X during the time you're there,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah,
and and more. So it enables you to get the dinosaurs into the country. I did it with the Bronx Zoo in New York, and fortunately, they didn't ask me whether I'd ever done this before, so they just took them,
yeah,
and so that funded getting everything there, and so we could tour it around. So that would be the quickest, easiest way to do it. I don't know what other, you can get investors and loans, and there are other ways to crack the same problem.
Well, there's a major global company called Fever Up. So what Fever
Yeah,
who Fever Up? Have you heard of Fever Up?
yeah. We have fever here without the up, but it's the same
Yeah.
company.
So I'm partnering with Fever Up. So
Yep.
there's a few things knocking around, and I've already told them about a dinosaur experience, and their mind was just like, let's do it, because they've got dinosaur experience across the globe, and they reckon at the minute it is just by far outselling any other type of event, from theater to bar crawls, whatever you name it. They're doing it, festivals, but a dinosaur experience is by far selling more than anything. So they've actually said, if I can create a collaboration with an existing business who have existing IP, who have the existing numbers from other tours or other expos, then they'd be really, really interested. So you've got that.
Yeah, we do.
So
So we just want 99% of everything. That's all.
exactly right. um,
Wow.
so how it usually looks with Fever Up. So from traditionally, what they've done with my events is they would obviously retail, distribute, and market the event, right? But they'll take a small fee. But where they earn the majority of their money and what's in it for them is they'd always sort of create like an experience ticket. So, for example, if I was doing a family fun park, right, you get your general admission. What they would do is they'd create a general admission plus a meal, right? So you might get a burger and a Coke, right? But I don't offer that ticket, whereas they do. So they would drive that ticket,
Right.
and then they would take a bigger percentage of the difference. So basically, I'm not losing on my ticket revenue that I'm selling, but they've
Right.
created another ticket to then really hone in on their marketing, their database, to then distribute those tickets. And I think that model, obviously, I mean, it suits an owner, right? Because I'm not losing anything, I'm only gaining.
Right.
So that's the sort of model that obviously I'll try and work on with them. Now, they have mentioned they would be interested in investing in this particular experience with the dinosaurs, but what that process looks like, I'm not sure. But I think at this stage, what we would do is, I obviously didn't realize it was that expensive to set it up, right? So what I think we'd do is collate some data, I'd put a bit of a proposal together based on the experiences you've had in America, the sort of
Sure.
numbers and the relationships you've got, and then I'll get in a room with the guys from Fever, and I'll sell it to them, and see what money we can get out of them, to then just go gangbusters with it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what, you would know much better, whether there are venues, including zoos there. We had one offer from a zoo, I think it might have been Brisbane.
Mm,
And for us, it's too far off, and we'd have to line up several zoos to keep the dinosaurs there long enough to
yeah,
justify all the shipping and all the
yeah,
time.
yeah,
So we really didn't pursue that. But there, even if you went to zoos, there are 4 or 5 really big ones.
yeah. There is, yeah.
They can Taronga, they could come up with some money by which you cobble together the budget for this.
Yeah. And now's the right time, because obviously we've had a couple of terrible bad years when no one's been out, and they'd be looking for things to really drive their own marketing and complement. And it's a winning model. It's a winning activation. You're doing it. Like, it's not like, trying to make something up out of smoke and clouds. Like, dinosaurs are great. You're doing it. It's great. Like, Fever Up, know how good it is. So I I didn't even think to go down that route of the zoos, to be honest with you. I just was thinking go and lease a pocket of land and just set it up.
Well, ultimately, that way is much more profitable for you because you're not sharing everything.
Yeah, yeah,
But if the nut to crack at first is how you get the 500,000 to
yeah,
do this,
right.
get a guarantee of something, and then the idea of an upcharge for them is it's additional revenue, however much they make.
Yeah, okay, yeah, yeah.
They're
So
getting on top of their tenants.
obviously, I appreciate you're at this level now. Obviously, it's flying, things are fantastic. Once upon a time, did you not just start off with like a dozen, 10 dinosaurs, a dozen dinosaurs, or like you just went, nah, big.
Go big or go home.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, the model what we were looking at was same challenge you have. What's going to fund initially getting places?
Yeah.
Once we build up enough revenue, then we'll switch the model to being our own tour.
Right.
So it took us a little longer than we thought it would take, about a year longer. Partly because of COVID, partly because we had to get staffed up and get the right people to do it.
Yeah.
Uh, it was very easy when you had Chinese technicians. Now
Yeah.
they can't come. So I had to train people in America to do the thing that these guys know backwards and forwards, how
Right.
to how to install and fix these dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I always thought you need enough to have a significant thing to charge people enough money to
Yeah.
warrant the time that you're putting into it.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
With so now you just mentioned that you train people locally. So do you still you create the dinosaurs now in America, do you, or do you still go?
No, we still make them in China, and
Yeah.
we've had no problem shipping them. The prices have gone back down, but nobody can get out of China. The only country with worse COVID than Australia policies is China.
Yeah. 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 And then obviously you use the same manufacturer you've used from day one, right? So obviously,
No,
like with anything, there's
oh, no, no. Well, for one, we sometimes have more orders than they have capacity. We're up to like 400 dinosaurs now. So,
wow.
um,
Just, do you know what, Don? I might think about flying out, come and visit you, and having a look at. And honestly, like
sure.
it would just be. I'm just so much appreciation for business. I've got so many ideas, and I'm so passionate about business and events. So, like, and I just think 400 dinosaurs. Like this tour is going to be incredible. You must be excited.
Well, we only put about 90 in this exhibit, but that's a lot.
Wow. Wow.
Considering that we're also the biggest in the world. So, I wanted to really make it stand out from these cheesy ones that go for the weekend.
Yeah.
Real reason to come to this versus something that was already in town.
Yeah.
You don't have that problem in Australia because there's, as you mentioned, there's only one small thing around there.
Yeah.
The I think the way to do it though would, don't be in too much of a hurry and get somebody else to pay the bill at first.
Yeah, no, I think. Listen, I mean, I've got a lot going on in the next few months, and two of the venues I'm bumping into there. What we're going to do, we're going to see how summer goes, and then potentially extend into a 12-month agreement for the whole season, for the whole year, and then that'll see me bump in different attractions, different inflatable themed attractions. The Easter one I mentioned, a Winter Wonderland, that sort of stuff. So there's a lot in the pipeline. I'm also looking at taking on a warehouse to create an indoor fun park. And on the back end of that, I've actually got a childcare centre in the UK who are looking to set up an inflatable fun park indoor at 2 locations before Christmas.
Whoa.
So I've got a meeting at the end of this week with the 4 directors to finalise that and see how my involvement looks. But it's looking as though they want me to come on board as a consultant. If they've got any issues, they're going to contact me directly. And if I have to fly back to the UK, I fly back to the UK. That sort of model. So that's quite exciting, which might then even open the door to a dinosaur experience within the UK. Like I think, second to America, UK is probably the place to go, right? And Australia would probably be the third, and that was always sort of my vision. So yeah, I'm not in a rush to actually launch and have an open that, like I don't want to do it next month, next week, whatever. But I am conscious about putting plans in play and trying to deal with a network to obviously bring in funding. I appreciate it's not going to be a quick process. So I think for me now to work with you to put together a pitch deck full of information, numbers in particular, how many people are likely to visit, how much money we're likely to raise for the zoos, through obviously benefiting their existing tickets. Like I think you said you do an add-on if you want to do the dinosaur experience. So that's probably the route I would look to go here. And yes, sell them the dream and make it happen. Like yeah. So, but I think if I
I'll
can,
send you some stuff.
mm,
An overview kind of we have of the company.
yeah.
Uh, you can find the attendance of the Australian zoos very easily online.
Yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. And
And know
maybe
who.
even like if you wanted to explore whatever it was that the one of the zoos offered you,
Yeah,
consider me a contact, consider me a potential partner. Like obviously we need to just be open about that as well and sort of see how, I mean, because I obviously want to utilize you,
right.
your brand, right? Your knowledge. So we'll obviously at some point have a bit of a chat how that's going to look and how you can constantly be getting something from operations here as well. So
You have
oh
to
yeah.
employ all my relatives.
Hey, it's hard to find staff at the minute, so it works for me.
There's like 100 of them. So
um,
fortunately, they have jobs at the moment. So
Yeah, but I mean, putting together a four-man crew is not difficult at all. I mean, the inflatable maze, I have a five-man team that every time I have to set that up, like it's yeah, yeah, and forklifts and all that sort of stuff.
yeah,
So that's not a problem. It's just the knowledge to put them together. Like I might need
the
to get video. I
opportunity.
might need to video call you, Don. I'll sit on the phone and show you how do I do this, how do I do that.
We'd have to send you a supervisor, and he would
Okay, yeah, 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 yeah.
see other guys. The best is to have two crews going, and then you can get it done twice as fast, and you have more days that you're open, and you make more money.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's a benefit
Honestly,
to having.
I'm confident. Like at this venue, there's only two people, me and the CEO. And I'm already exploring an inflatable fun park there. So for me to really, between Fever Up, yourself, me, the venue I've got, there's a foundation there. Honestly, this venue, Don, is incredible. I'll send you a link just to the website, and you'll get to have a bit of a look at the venue and really how incredible the venue is. And then I reckon, as I say, that experience where they can walk around and go and find the dinosaurs, that's, oh, honestly, I just think it'd be fantastic. It really would.
It looks so much better when it's in a vegetated environment.
Yeah,
But you
yeah,
put them out on a field, and it's looks kind of hokey. You put them
yeah,
in the forest, and you think they're alive. So it's a
yeah,
huge difference.
yeah, yeah,
It would be great. Well, the best is if you don't need to go to the zoo to get you money, and you can get it from this combination of the venue and fever and stuff, and your own resources, then you've jumped it a year or so. You get a year
yeah, yeah.
faster down the line because the real money is in having your own tour.
Yeah, because so I reckon so the way our seasons work here, just with the weather in Melbourne, I run the inflatables from sort of end of August, September through till middle of April, May. So to be honest, I'd look to just replicate that with the expo and just go, sort of September right through to April. There's 3 lots of school holidays there as well, which are obviously tend to be the bumper crowds because it's more consistent.
Right.
But I mean, even with this, would I I'd probably look at having it open 7 days a week and having different sort of sessions and incentives for people to come during the week. You got your mums and your tots, your little kids, and then in the evenings you might have an adult only experience. They can have a bit of a drink, there's a bit of food, and they can come and be kids again.
So
Um,
winos and dinos.
See, that's why I need you, Don. Wow, that is great. That is great.
But
And then all of
the
a sudden, you can bring in you can bring in sponsorship and brands, bring in a wine distributor or, a wine brand, and all of a sudden they get exclusivity on the wine, and then you've got wino and dino, and it's like adult nights. And because with an expo, you're limited to the site itself, so there's no reason there can't be 3 to 5 thousand people in this venue at any one time just enjoying this expo, and $35 a ticket, and oh wow,
well, schools, because of the strong educational content,
yeah,
if they have a budget to bring school groups and you give a reduced price, that keeps the week busier. And then on the
yeah,
weekends, you can do birthday parties too.
yeah, that's it, yeah, 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 100%. 100%. This same model essentially is what I'm looking at with the fun parks, but just bigger, better, and louder and scarier.
What
um,
did you what do you charge people to go through the maze?
so the maze concept is going to be it's a $20 ticket for an hour. And then we're just gonna do 6 to 8 hour sessions through weekends, and 4 hour sessions through the week. I'm just gonna pump them through. But the water park, the inflatable water park, I charge $35 per person.
Right.
So that's sort of where that's at. But then all of a sudden, if you add in the expo and the educational experience, yeah, I mean, 40, 46, $55 potentially. Obviously group tickets. Oh, Don, we're going to run out of time here on the
Yeah.
Zoom.
I'm,
Um,
I'm, I'm pretty much done with everything I could tell you.
yeah,
In the US, one of these dinosaur exhibitions on its own, like we were talking about, is between 25 and 30 US dollars.
yeah.
That's the sort of
Yeah, so that's
expectation.
about 40, 45 Aussie dollars, $50. So yeah, it's in line with what I would say would be reasonable. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
All right. Well, I'm going to send you some stuff
Yeah,
and we can talk anytime.
yeah, absolutely, Don. I really appreciate the time. I'll definitely take you up on that. I reckon a weekly Zoom would be great.
All right. Well, you need to come here really and see
Yeah,
the dinosaurs.
yeah,
So
yeah.
LA,
Wow,
starting.
nice. Never been. Would love to.
There you go, guys. The Don himself, the Dinosaur Legend. So, um, I reached out to Don only a little while ago, actually, because I got this great idea. Um, yeah, obviously it involves dinosaurs. It involves inflatables. Yeah, so watch this space. But yeah, thanks for watching, and keep an eye on what's coming up.